We are moving forward with a piece of legislation that will create 4 new criminal offences. The first 2 are aimed at protecting religious institutions with the new crimes of obstruction and intimidation. This will ensure those who gather to practice their faith at religious institutions, schools, community centres, and other buildings and structures that primarily serve identifiable communities will have the ability to do so freely and without fear that they will be targeted because of who they are. We also have realized through many conversations with those impacted by hate crimes in Canada that hate is not limited to the doorsteps of our religious institutions, but is prevalent throughout the entirety of our communities. We see it in our streets, we see it in our parks, we see it in our grocery stores. Frankly, we see it almost everywhere. In addition to the campaign commitments around the crimes of obstruction and intimidation, we are moving forward with establishing a new crime of hate. This will operate by layering on top of existing criminal offences with a new offence that will specifically target hate where that crime was committed because of their motivation of hatred towards the victim. You can imagine that it may be more morally culpable for a person who assaults another, not just because of a personal problem they may have, but because of their belonging to a community. If a person robs a store because the owner comes from a particular group, or if a person commits harassment against someone who is seeking to attend university classes merely because they belong to a particular community of faith or race. This behavior is not just morally culpable. The impact has reverberations through the entirety of a community, and I would argue tears at the seams of the social fabric of the nation. In addition to the crimes of obstruction, intimidation, and hate, we are also moving forward with an additional offence of the willful promotion of hate through the use of hate symbols. Specifically enumerated will be particular symbols associated with a period of history involving Nazis' discrimination against Jews and the targeting of Jews in the Holocaust, as well as the symbols specifically tied to listed terror organizations. In addition to these new offences, we are taking certain steps that will make it easier for law enforcement to take action. This comes directly from feedback that we've had with conversations with law enforcement over the course of the summer, including adding a definition of hatred to the criminal code, which codifies the test laid out by the Supreme Court of Canada, as well as removing the requirement of the consent of a provincial attorney general in order to prosecute a crime of hate. This is important to allow police to do their job when they see hate in our communities. By way of conclusion, we cannot ignore hate in our communities and expect that it will not fester. If we do not take action, we will be responsible for the hate that will continue to impact communities across this country. I should mention as well that there are many behaviours that are despicable in this country, that are characterized by hatred towards another, that may not reach a criminal threshold. It is important that we do not fail one another, as we have in too many instances in the past. When you see hate in your community, we have a responsibility to address it. It is my view that we are responsible in the end, not only for the acts that we commit, but for the instances where we see an injustice and choose to stand idly by. Folks, we owe a duty to our neighbours to be good neighbours. It's a very Canadian value, and I hope that we can all exercise it in our daily lives.